this is how the game should be the whole time. You get a gun, the enemies get guns, and more powerful guns to add variety and challenge. It's so much more fun to shoot shit up. Not taking anything away from the knife, because stabbing is cool too. It just doesn't have as much staying power as a firearm. Now, if they had it so you only have a certain amount of ammo, and once you run out, all you have is a knife, now we're talking. It would give you a strategy on when to conserve ammo, but the strategy in this game is to know where you fucked up and try not to fuck up again. Like in this next part, where the jumping soldier comes flying down from above. First time you're playing, you're not expecting him. You're just trying to kill the yellow guy. So you approach him, and he comes out of nowhere, and bam, you're dead. You have to jump and stab. And later on, when I try to jump over the mine and kill this jumping soldier, because I'm jumping towards the ladder, I automatically grab onto it and get wiped out in a bullshit death. Shit like this wouldn't be so bad if the lives weren't so fucking valuable. Before you fight the boss, you've got to clear all these guys out of the way. No problem, right? Ah, how the fuck did I die from that? Well, it turns out whenever you turn around to face left, you're not in position to kill the jumping soldier by standing. For whatever reason, you're too close to him. Despite the fact that if you turn around to face right, you're fine. And this inconsistency will cost you a life at this part if you're in the habit of the stand and stab method. To kill this asshole, you have to jump and attack. So now you've got to fight the boss, a pack of wild dogs. They're really easy to kill once you discover that you have to be laying flat on the ground to kill them. The only thing is, you'll probably discover this tactic by dying, since they charge so fast you won't be expecting it. So a shitload of dogs just keep coming from both sides. There'll be 6 from the right side, 6 from the left, then 6 from the right, then 6 more from the left, then 6 alternating both sides. These poor fucking dogs don't even deserve this shit. But your survival is more important than theirs, so you gotta do what you gotta do. So you climb yet another barbed wire fence to get to the next level. When will this dumbass learn? So level 4 is in this air shed, and you'll notice right away these guys hiding in barrels firing shells. To kill them, jump into the air right next to them and stab. Then you've got these paratroopers that fire as they trail down from the sky. When they land, they take the role of the pistol shooters. Your best bet is to stay on the lower half of the level, so you can take out the artilleryman in the barrel. It's a lot harder to deal with them from above. And while you're on the lower half, it's also a lot easier to deal with the paratroopers because you'll have more time to react to their attacks. Keep in mind while playing this level, there's going to be a lot of jumping soldiers coming from the left side. Remember that you have to jump in order to kill them. Other than that, the big thing about getting through this level is don't do what the game tells you to. Don't rush and attack. If you move too fast, you'll end up with a lot more enemies on the screen at once, which is pretty much the last thing you want to happen. The general rule of thumb is if you see an enemy on the screen coming in your direction, stop and kill off all the enemies on screen until you clear them all, then continue on. Overall, you might want to adopt the cautious approach throughout most of the game, but if you don't follow this strategy in level 4, you'll definitely have your problems. The boss of this stage is 3 guys in auto gyros, along with a foot soldier to keep you busy. The auto gyros fire grenades and scroll back and forth across the screen, moving down a level each time they get to the end. It's really not that hard. Just avoid the grenades, kill the foot soldiers, and when the gyros make their way within reach, just jump towards them and take them out with a knife with 1 hit each. So, moving on to the next level. And you know, for some reason, those green squares always looked like the square pieces on Tetris. I don't know why, and I think it's getting obvious that I'm running out of shit to say between stages. Level 5 takes place in the snowy terrains outside a warehouse. So right away you'll find what are supposed to be machine gunnists, but they only fire 1 shot, and they're basically the same as the pistol shooter, only with a different spray and a different sound effect for the bullets. For the portion with the brown buildings, climb up to the 2nd level and just keep jumping from platform to platform. You'll hardly ever run into any enemies, except for the machine gun soldiers every now and again. Up next is the boss, which is 3 of these generic paratroopers you see throughout level 4. But now it's hard as shit. Look at all these goddamn bullets. How the hell do I get away from it all? Fuck! We're gonna get it this time. God damn it! I can understand the concept of developing a strategy against bosses, but this is insane. I mean, it's not like you have many lives to spare to begin with. Why would you want to waste them all figuring out how to kill this fucking boss? You'd be really lucky to get past this boss the first time you make it up to it. And since you have no continues, once you get a game over, your initial reaction is probably going to consist of slamming the controller and yelling, "Fuck this game." And it'll be weeks before you play the game again. Let alone make your way through all the bullshit and remember all the little places you fucked up in order to have just enough lives to get to the level 5 boss again. And when you do finally make it, you're not going to remember what you did wrong the last time. you'll fuck it all up again. This is one of the reasons why this game should have had continues, or at least 2 tries maybe. Anyway, back to the task at hand. The trick to defeating this boss is to head left, which will be as far away from the troopers as you can get. Then try to dodge, jump, weave, drop, zigzag. Just get the hell out of the way of these goddamn bullets. They're all over the place. Once all 3 land, lay flat on the ground and don't get up. Just keep swinging that knife and let them come walking into your knife of doom. So you climb one more barbed wire fence unnecessarily to reach the evil Russian secret base of illegal development of weapons that are more powerful than ours and underage soldiers. Thankfully you won't have to blast any kids, but they did pick a weird color scheme for these guys in this level. They look like they're made of stone. You might be disappointed at how easy most of this level is. Disappointed or maybe relieved, depending on how you look at it, I guess. One thing is that you mostly have to deal with the standard foot soldiers, jumping soldiers, the guys with the guns, and the power-ups. No new specialists come in for the final level. There really aren't too many tricky parts, and the numerous ladders allow you to avoid enemies in case you've got too many surrounding you. For the middle portion, it really seems like more enemies frequent the lower half, especially the jumping soldiers, so staying up top isn't a bad idea. But once you get to the split, get ready for those guns on the ceiling. They fire blue lasers, even when their own friendlies are in the line of fire, so the kamikaze mission to them, besides, doesn't even hurt them. The best strategy is to run and don't stop, much like the snipers in level 2. Once you make it through safely, then you can turn around and take out all the guys behind you. And right after this, you'll make it to the final objective. The secret weapon is a real shocker, a nuclear missile. The boss battle is much easier than you'd think, especially considering how tough it is to even make it this far. You'd think this would be impossible. But all you have is a bunch of running soldiers and some of the power-up guys. It's basically the boss of the first level. Lame. Power-up guys will always have bazookas. Grab them and do what any other level-headed person would do in this situation. Blast a nuclear missile with the bazooka at close range. Yeah, that's safe. If you ever see 2 bazookas at the same time, be sure to empty out the first one before you pick up the second one, since you can't carry more than 3 shots at a time. Just keep slashing the soldiers and keep blasting the bomb until it starts blowing up. I told you this guy's an idiot. He just stands there like, "Durr, look at all the pretty colors." Meanwhile, a 50-foot missile that could completely wipe out the entire country is blowing up right in front of him. Somehow, he manages to escape. The entire city collapses, and you get a congratulations screen. Peace has arrived at last? Yeah, this nuclear explosion isn't going to stir up the shit. I think the Cold War is going to turn into World War III here. It must be why the sequel, which only came out in the arcade, is called MIA, Missing in Action. This guy went into hiding after being single-handedly responsible for the shit hitting the fan. Anyway, who cares? You fulfilled your duties, accomplished your mission, and most rewarding of all, you fucking beat Russian attack. Now, wait a minute. Why couldn't you be dressed in green like these guys? And you gotta love how one of them falls flat on their face and then runs ahead to catch up. And one of them stubs their toe or some shit. Overall, I'd have to say that Russian attack definitely could have been better. There are a lot of flaws that I've already mentioned and don't feel like repeating. However, it's still a cool game. It's intense, fun, and entertaining. You can tell it came from the arcade. It definitely has the arcade feel to it. Only problem is you don't have any quarters to keep yourself going once you run out of lives. And running out of lives is easy since the game is so damn hard. And that's really the only major problem with it. It's too hard to play it all the way through because you can essentially only take 5 hits throughout the whole game. If they had given you a little bit more breathing room, this could have been a really solid entry. But to its credit, it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you're up for a challenge, or if you just love killing commies. So, that wraps up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.